Greetings, YouTubers. I just wanted to sit here, spend a few minutes. I hope I won't bore you for too long. I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm trying to do a several installment series on a few different topics. And so let's go ahead and get started on this. My first one is I would like to address the subject, and for the sake of an argument or the argument, just consider a positive place, a peaceful place, and a very negative place that is a very chaotic. Some may even describe it as a painful or just a not good place, a negative place to be. And I'm going to label the positive place heaven, and I'm going to label the negative place hell. I think most people that would ever watch this video can relate to the concepts, the duality, the opposites of these two environments. Now, we have heaven and hell, and we're going to consider human nature, and then also as well spiritual systems. Okay, everybody, has their own experience or has had their own experience within life and different beliefs and religions and spirituality or what have you. Okay, so first off, let's take heaven and hell. Heaven, as I said, was a positive place, supposedly, from what I understand. The way it's described as, anyway, is heaven. And heaven, at least from a Judeo-Christian perspective, is a place that is not necessarily or can be accessed or a place you can be in religiously or spiritually in the physical realm, as we are now in a 3D type, solid type of realm. It's a spiritual place. It's a place that we only can access, supposedly, after we expire, we leave this dimension or density place, environment, after we die. We cease to exist physically here. And hell, supposedly, is the same way, according to quite a few of the popular religious or belief or spiritual systems. So, to the best of my recollection, I've never had anyone tell me, or I've never read anywhere, that heaven could actually be created on earth. Okay? And hell, through scriptures or whatever, or from a Christian perspective, I've never been told or read that this place that they call hell is not where we live physically, where we exist physically. Okay, both of these dualistic places, heaven and hell, are where we go after we stop existing here in our physical being. Our spirit goes to one place or the other. Now, this may not be, you may not be in agreement with this due to your spiritual or non-spiritual or whatever beliefs or perspectives. but I'm just using this as an example. So, I've never read or never been told that heaven was a place that was even supposed to be created on earth. Now, if you're familiar with some of the Old Testament or whatever, then there was the Garden of Eden, but man, Adam and Eve, were expelled from that place for whatever reasons that you want to interpret. So, if they were in heaven, Garden of Eden, which I don't think it's described as that, but a very blissful place. But anyway, so, and I guess they weren't expelled and driven to hell. So, okay. So anyway, so heaven and hell. I hadn't read or been told that heaven could be created here on earth. As well, I have never been told that hell could be created here on earth. Okay? But yet, I have been told and read that if we follow certain guidelines or whatever, remain, within on one certain path or another, after we perish, we die, our spirits will either go to heaven or go to hell. So, considering looking around in our world today, why don't we, what's keeping us from creating a heaven on earth, a heaven-like environment on earth? Okay, nobody's ever told us this, have they? I hadn't heard it, I hadn't read it. So what's to prevent us from creating this blissful, peaceful, beneficial to all of us kind of place? Okay. Now, on the other hand, if we talk, speaking of hell, we're, in my opinion, we're a lot closer to a hellish type environment than we are to a heavenly type environment. But yet, I was never told or had never read, watched, listened, whatever, that either one could be created on earth. But I certainly do see a lot of suffering, a lot of disorganization, pain, anguish, and certain situations never becoming any more beneficial or what have you to the human race, the species. So I want to know why a heaven-like environment cannot be produced or created here on earth. Now and not just from a Christian, Judeo-Christian perspective or whatever, human beings, our species, is supposed to be a very special species, type of being, okay? Our consciousness, our spirituality, but yet, on the other hand, we can be some of the meanest, orneriest, dishonorable beings that have ever existed, pretty much. So anyway, I'm going to try to cut this off pretty short. I probably droned on now anyway, and I even had notes that I was trying to follow. But explain to me, why can we not create a heaven-like environment here on earth? Because I know for a fact that me, you, and anyone that exists on this planet Earth, or within this realm, or whatever you would like to call it, this environment, has the ability to create a heaven-like environment, place, what have you, that we can all exist in. Every one of us. You, me, everybody. We are co-creators. If you go by, and I'm just using this as an example, but there are many different writings, things that have been written, scriptures, whatever, that indicate to us that we have a spiritual being, okay? We are spiritual beings. We are spirits having a human experience, okay? So why can we not create a heavenly like environment? It doesn't take any effort at all, apparently, or not much effort, to create a hellish type environment. Now, some people may not have had what they would consider a hellish type environment, but I would hazard to guess that a lot of people would say, yeah, this is a hellish type of environment that we exist in. Why? Why is that? And so I'm going to kind of close this out on this particular opinion of mine. And I think a lot of it relates to the reason why or why not we can or cannot do something is because of our or lack of our spiritual knowledge. Now, you might not be an atheist, let's say, as an example. And supposedly atheists, they don't believe in this, they don't believe in that, they just believe you exist, you die, you rot in the ground, or wherever your body is, or whatever, and that's it. And I don't know if a lot of people that espouse to being atheist realize it or not, but that is actually a religion as well. They do believe in something. Even if it's not a spiritual or greater being, power, energy, whatever it is, not believing in that and believing that there's nothing beyond that or whatever, that is just as much of a religion as a belief than any other spiritual agnostic type of belief. So a lot of it's the understanding what a spiritual belief or faith, if you will, and even being that the human species has or is. And so this is the first video in a series. I'm not sure how many videos will be coming after this, but I'm going to try to, I covered heaven and hell, and I asked the question in this video, why is it not possible for the human species to create either a heaven-like environment, blissful, peaceful, beneficial to the human species, and why it's never been said that hell could not be created by the human species. Because in my opinion, I see that we are a lot closer to being existing in a hellish type environment, not totally, but a lot closer to a hellish type environment than a heavenly like environment. Okay? So that's it for now. And again, heaven and hell, human nature. I didn't spend any time on this, but our human nature may have a lot to do with whether or not we believe that we can create either a heavenly environment for us to exist in, or whether we create a hellish, more hellish type of environment that we exist in. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm just getting going on trying to do these blogs, vlogs, whatever. And hopefully my oration will become more fluid, less boring, if it's boring to you. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. But I'm trying to just put some stuff out there, some thoughts out there, and think about that question. Why can we not create a heavenly type of environment for us to exist in? And why, another question, why would we want to create a hellish type of environment to exist in? So that's all I have for this episode of the series. And again, thank you very much for watching. Have a pleasant day, night, weekend, what have you. And try your best to treat yourself well, and at the same time treat other people well. Okay? And maybe that might be a start to creating a more heavenly type of environment that we all can benefit from. Thank you.